What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another reaction with your host, the ignorant eclectic mad genius. And I gotta go ahead and I gotta give a shout out to the black status, man. Um, this reaction is gonna be the 15 black the 15 black owned fashion brands that are ultra rich. All right, so we're gonna check them out. Also, like I do every video, the links for the original video will be in a link in the description below. Check them out. Hit that like, hit that sub. On the road to 1,000 subs, man. Let's do this.
Most exclusive black-owned fashion brands.
Exclusive.
And the list only gets crazier as we move.
Oh my god.
We're talking about a jewelry brand whose single brooch sold at Sotheby's for $21.5 million. A tailoring house whose client list includes Will Smith and the sitting European royalty. And a shoe designer who figured out that European luxury houses had never actually made a nude heel for anyone. Let's get into it.
Really?
Number 15. Salone Monier. Here's something that sounds almost too simple to be a billion-dollar insight, but stay with it for a second. For decades, every major European luxury shoe house defined nude as one pale beige tone. One shade. For an entire planet of people with wildly different skin tones. And somehow, for decades, nobody in that world thought it was worth fixing. Salone Monet noticed...
Well, that's because of them individuals have no type of creativity bone in their body. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10 it comes from us and then it gets stolen from us. But shout out to Salon Monet.
that gap.
Monet.
And instead of
Yay.
writing a think piece about it,
Alright,
she
now,
built a brand
sister.
around closing it.
Yay!
Every pair of Salone Monet heels is handcrafted in Italy by generational master artisans, using buttery Napa leathers and hand-dyed silk satins that old European houses typically reserve for their most expensive lines. But the real genius is the color palette. She engineered a true nude for every single human complexion on Earth. Not a range of 5 approximate options, but a genuine, meticulous spectrum that creates the unbroken, elongating silhouette that makes a nude shoe actually work for everyone who wears one. When Beyoncé stepped out in Salone Monet heels, a lot of people called it a celebrity endorsement. It wasn't. It was a cultural statement about what luxury actually owes its customers, which is the feeling of being genuinely, specifically seen. At the ultra-high end of the market, almost right isn't a compromise. It's a rejection. Salone Monet sells certainty, and in high-end footwear, that turns out to be rarer than any exotic leather. Number 14. Victor Glemaud. When the global ultra-wealthy are packing for a month in St. Bart's or 3 weeks on the Amalfi Coast, they are absolutely not reaching for anything stiff, restrictive, or trying too hard. They are reaching for Victor Glemaud. And if you know, you know.
I don't.
Glemaud is the undisputed master of high-end resort wear, and what he does with knitwear specifically is genuinely hard to explain without sounding like you're exaggerating. He takes ultra-fine merino wool and premium cashmere, materials that most designers treat as safe, traditional choices, and constructs them into sensual, architectural, form-fitting silhouettes that move with the body in a way that feels almost engineered rather than designed. Bold color blocking, daring cuts, the kind of pieces that command a room without making any visible effort to do so. That quality, the effortlessness, is everything at this price point. The global leisure class has an almost allergic reaction to clothing that tries too hard. Glemaud's pieces look effortless because the technical execution underneath them is immaculate. Advanced knitting techniques that preserve shape and hand feel through years of wear, not just through one spectacular season. This is the unofficial uniform for sipping vintage champagne on a super yacht deck. Relaxed glamour that reads as old money without ever announcing itself, because old money never announces itself. It just shows up, impeccably dressed, completely unbothered. Number 13. Bottone. The ultra-wealthy have a very specific relationship with mass production.
I've never heard
They
of this.
want no part of it.
Brand.
And nowhere is that more visible than in eyewear, where a handful of giant global conglomerates pump out the same acetate frames in slightly different colorways every season and call it a collection. Bottone looked at that landscape and did something genuinely different. The brand sources reclaimed exotic woods, ebony, zebra wood, rosewood, directly from West Africa. These are materials traditionally reserved for bespoke furniture, private jet cabin interiors, and luxury vehicle dashboards. Actual scarce materials, with actual stories behind them, and a natural grain so distinct that no two pairs of Boughton frames are ever exactly alike. That last detail is the one that gets attention in the right rooms. When you're wearing something that is physically, structurally impossible to replicate, not limited to a numbered run of 500, but genuinely singular by the nature of the material itself. That's a completely different conversation about exclusivity. The brand has built a serious following among eco-conscious billionaires and cultural leaders who want their accessories to reflect a real commitment to sustainability without giving up a single millimeter of luxury. Boughton proves that environmental responsibility and high society glamour aren't opposing values. Sitting right there on the bridge of your nose. Number 12. F.E. Noel. There's a specific tier of luxury where clothing stops feeling like clothing and starts feeling like wearable art. The kind you'd be equally comfortable displaying in a gallery or wearing to a private island charity gala. Felicia Noel has been operating at exactly that frequency since she launched F.E. Noel, drawing from her Grenadian heritage to build something that lives at the precise intersection of Caribbean vibrancy and European caliber tailoring. The garments are extraordinary. Massive billowing silks, breathable linen blends with complex construction, hand-painted custom prints that carry real narrative about the African diaspora, feminine power, and a kind of freedom that most luxury brands talk about but don't actually put into the clothes. Dramatic sweeping robes, sharply tailored wide-leg trousers, deeply sensual blouses that move with the wind in a way that needs to be seen in person to be understood. Individual pieces require dozens of hours of hand-stitching just to achieve the correct drape. F.E. Noel doesn't design for the woman who wants to blend in gracefully.
I'm telling you, bro, if it wasn't for like channels like this and a few other channels, I would be none the wiser, because I'm just like, I am literally taking this in and enamored. I'm just like, holy.
She designs for the woman who walks into a room and owns it in the first 3 seconds, before she's said a single word. Her clientele, billionaires, A-list actresses, global royalty, don't buy these pieces as fashion purchases. They buy them as investments in a curated life that has no tolerance for ordinary. That's a very different kind of customer. And F.E. Noel is built for exactly her. Number 11. Armando Cabral. In the world of ultra-high net worth men's dressing, shoes are not an accessory. They are the entire argument. Every detail of a powerful man's presentation gets interrogated at the level his shoes get scrutinized, which means the footwear decision isn't really aesthetic, it's strategic. Armando Cabral understood this from the inside. Born in Guinea-Bissau, raised in Portugal, he spent years as a top-tier runway model, walking for the most prestigious houses in Paris and Milan. He didn't study global luxury from a business school case study. He absorbed it from the floor of the runway, season after season, fitting after fitting.
That boy fly.
And what he identified, with that level of proximity, was a specific gap. Nobody was making footwear that combined genuine old-world European craftsmanship with the sensibility of a modern global citizen who splits the year between London, Tokyo, and São Paulo. So he built it himself. Every pair of Armando Cabral shoes is handcrafted in the Marche region of Italy, the geographical center of serious shoemaking, using full-grain Italian calfskin leathers tanned specifically to develop a rich personal patina over decades of wear. There are no loud logos or obnoxious branding fighting for attention. Just architectural silhouettes, flawless hand-stitching, and the kind of all-day comfort that only happens when construction is taken seriously from the very first step. His clients are international tech executives, billionaire art collectors, and global tastemakers who need footwear that works as hard and travels as far as they do. Stealth wealth, engineered from the ground up. Number 10. Wales Bonner. Real luxury,
Wales Bonner,
the kind that survives decades and appreciates in cultural value the way blue-chip art appreciates in financial value, tends to be deeply, genuinely intellectual. And right now, nobody in contemporary fashion embodies that truth more completely than Grace Wales Bonner. She won the LVMH Prize for Young Fashion Designers, which in the fashion industry is roughly equivalent to winning a MacArthur Genius Grant. The kind of recognition that signals this person isn't following the conversation, they're leading it. Her brand is a masterclass in what happens when Savile Row tailoring traditions meet the rich historical narratives of the Afro-Atlantic diaspora. Not as a concept or a marketing angle, but as a genuine, deeply researched creative framework that produces garments referencing literature, fine art, and history in ways you can actually read in the fabric.
That's fucking
The
fire,
construction
bro.
is
That
extraordinary.
is a dope-ass picture.
Hand-stitched detailing, bespoke custom embroidery, the finest worsted wools and Egyptian cottons available. But wearing Wales Bonner goes beyond materials and technique. Her limited edition collaborations sell out in seconds and immediately trade on the secondary market at significant premiums, because her audience understands that scarcity here isn't manufactured. It's the natural result of someone who refuses to compromise the process to increase the volume. You don't just wear Wales Bonner, you wear it publicly as a signal to the room that your wealth is matched by your culture, and your culture runs deep. Number 9. Kendall Miles. Designs. Chicago native. Kendall
she a
Reynolds
shy
didn't walk
baby.
into luxury footwear through family connections or industry introductions. She walked in through the Ars Tutoria in Milan, one of the most technically rigorous, most prestigious footwear design schools in the world,
Man.
and came out with the kind of training that lets you compete directly with houses that have been operating for a century. What she built with Kendall Miles Designs is a brand that treats exotic materials the way a jeweler treats gemstones, with reverence, precision, and an obsessive commitment to sourcing only what's genuinely exceptional. Custom-dyed python skins, rich ostrich leathers, luxury furs,
Okay.
semi-precious metal hardware imported from the finest European suppliers. Every shoe is handcrafted by multi-generational, family-owned artisans in Florence. And the quality doesn't just rival the famous legacy houses, it frequently exceeds them. That's not a claim. That's a conclusion people reach when they put the shoes on.
That's dope.
But what makes Kendall Miles genuinely important, beyond the craftsmanship, is the philosophy underneath it. The brand was built on the explicit conviction that Black women deserve uncompromising, top-tier luxury. The real thing, at the highest possible standard. The market responded accordingly. Rihanna wears it. Regina King wears it. Lupita Nyong'o wears it. These are women with unlimited options and zero tolerance for mediocrity, and they keep coming back. That's a quality argument
that's
winning
how
in
you know
real
you got
time.
something good.
Number 8. Kyer Y. The high jewelry world has been
Kyer
telling
Y.
essentially the same Eurocentric design story for about 2 centuries. Jamil Mohammed decided that story needed a completely different narrator. Kiri is an Afro-futurist luxury
Kiri.
jewelry house, and if that phrase is new to you, the work
Yes.
will clarify it immediately. Mohammed uses 18-karat gold vermeil, polished sterling silver, and ethically sourced diamonds to create sweeping, dramatic sculptural forms that draw from the beauty and deep historical legacy of the African diaspora, rather than from the conventional Western canon of what fine jewelry is supposed to look like. His signature Khartoum design, directly inspired by the tapering horns of nomadic cattle in Sudan, has become an instant classic in the elite luxury space. Not because it was aggressively marketed, but because it's genuinely, undeniably extraordinary. The pieces are heavy and substantial in a way that announces itself the moment you put them on. When Michelle Obama wore Kiri publicly, the global elite took notice in the specific way they do when something moves from interesting to essential. Kiri now appeals to a deeply cultured tier of extreme wealth, collectors who understand that what Mohammed is making isn't just jewelry, it's wearable investment in modern art and cultural heritage, and those two things combined tend to appreciate in ways that conventional luxury goods simply don't.
Shout out to
Pay
this
attention
brother.
to this one. Number 7. Sergio Hudson. There is a
Sergio
very
Hudson.
precise psychological difference between putting on a tailored suit and putting on armor. Sergio Hudson exclusively makes the second thing. He is the architect of the modern power suit, the definitive luxury women's wear designer for women who need to walk into rooms and be taken seriously before they open their
Bro, he looked like my dog. Rest in peace, my boy VCL, bro. He looked just like my dog VCL, bro. Oh my God. That's fucking crazy. RP my dog, but damn, he looked just like my brother.
mouths. His tailoring is mathematically precise. Expensive double-faced wools, pure cashmere, Liquid silk linings, every seam and dart calculated to project authority without making any visible effort. The silhouette does the work. The wearer just has to show up. The moment that permanently
That nigga
defined
fly,
Hudson's
bro.
place in the cultural
That
conversation
dog
came at
fly.
the 2021 presidential inauguration, when Michelle Obama, a woman with access to literally every major fashion house on Earth, wore
That's
a
a
rich
fly
plum
big
coat
dude.
and
I'm
perfectly
trying to get
tailored
like that,
jumpsuit
you feel
designed
me?
entirely by Sergio Hudson. She could have worn anything. She wore Sergio Hudson. Beyoncé wears it. Kamala Harris wears it. Hollywood royalty wears it when they need to command a stage without saying a word. His pieces cost thousands of dollars off the rack and considerably more for bespoke commissions, not because of branding, but because of what they actually do to the person wearing them. Hudson makes clothes for moments when losing is not an option. Number 6. Laquan Smith. If Sergio Hudson owns the boardroom, Laquan Smith owns everything that happens after dark, completely, without competition, without apology.
Okay.
Smith grew up in a basement in Queens and built a couture empire that now dresses the most visible, most photographed, most glamorous women on
That's a
Earth.
fire-ass jacket.
His brand is
Not gonna
nocturnal
hold you,
luxury at
dog.
its absolute peak. High-gloss PVC, heavy velvet, sheer French lace, liquid metallic silks. Materials that most designers treat as risky, Smith treats as his native
Risque.
language. The construction underneath all that visual drama is flawless, with skin-tight.
One thing I've never understood is just like the ballroom fashion show type thing. It probably someone would have to explain it to me. I just never really knew anything about it, or like never really paid attention to it. But there's a couple people that I follow. I think they do this or whatever, but them motherfuckers can dress their ass off, bro. They so goddamn fly. It's crazy.
Silhouettes engineered to flatter through structural precision rather than compression alone. The Kardashian-Jenners wear it.
Eh.
Rihanna wears it. Billionaire heiresses wear it to the Met Gala and to VIP sections in Monaco, where the entry requirements are more exclusive than most private members' clubs
That's a
in
sexy
London.
ass Ferrari. I mean, a
One of his
Porsche.
runway shows famously took over the Empire State Building in a presentation that people still reference as a turning point in how fashion spectacle gets executed. And here's the thing about Laquan Smith that most fashion coverage
Well,
misses.
shit, shout out to Laquan
Building
Smith.
a brand that operates at this level of glamour and visibility requires enormous technical discipline. The boldness is the product,
Was that a nipple?
and doing that with genuine mastery, rather than just confidence and noise, is considerably harder than it looks from
I'm
the
sorry.
outside. Smith makes it look easy. That's the most
It was a
expensive
beautiful
trick in fashion. Number 5. Sheila Bridges. The ultra-rich don't just wear luxury, they live entirely
Yeah, shout out
inside
to
it.
Sheila.
And when the world's wealthiest individuals, billionaires, Ivy League presidents, Hollywood titans, need someone to design the interior architecture of their multi-million-dollar estates, they call Sheila Bridges. CNN and Time magazine named her America's best interior designer. Her aesthetic is the pinnacle of sophisticated, tailored, old-money elegance. Rooms that feel like they've been curated across generations, rather than decorated in a single commission. She sources bespoke custom furniture, rare European antiques, and hand-woven textiles from across the globe, assembling environments that are less beautifully designed spaces and more generational statements in architecture. Her most famous creation is the Harlem Toile de Jouy, a reimagining of traditional French toile wallpaper that replaces the conventional pastoral European scenes with joyful, historically rich depictions of African-American culture. The pattern is so culturally significant, it's permanently housed in the Smithsonian Cooper Hewitt National Design Museum, sitting alongside designs from some of the most celebrated architects in human history. Hiring Sheila Bridges isn't a design decision. It's a declaration that your wealth has moved beyond the stage of accumulation and arrived somewhere considerably more interesting: taste. The kind that takes decades to develop and can't be bought in any showroom. Number 4. Brown Estate. Among the ultra-wealthy, a serious wine cellar isn't a hobby. It's an alternative asset class, one that appreciates in value, signals taste, and opens rooms that money alone cannot. In Napa Valley, the most competitive, most prestigious wine region in the United States, Brown Estate stands alone as the first and only Black-owned estate winery. Founded in 1996, the family produces small-batch Zinfandels and Cabernet Sauvignon that routinely score at the absolute top of global wine ratings. Consistently. Because the commitment to quality over volume here is absolute. But the real flex isn't even the wine itself, though the wine is extraordinary. The flex is access. Brown Estate's production is so deliberately controlled that securing a single bottle requires effort. A case requires relationships. Getting into their appointment-only tasting rooms, which function as discreet, high-powered networking environments for Silicon Valley executives, elite athletes, and global business figures, requires being the right kind of person in the right kind of network. That's the architecture of real luxury. Produce something genuinely exceptional, create genuine scarcity around it, and watch possession become its own signal. Brown Estate has built a winery that's also a membership in a very specific, very quiet world, and the wine is magnificent. Number 3. Mateo, New York. There is a demographic of extreme wealth that has nothing left to prove. No status to establish, no arrival to announce, no audience to impress. For that demographic, and it is a small one, Mateo, New York is the brand. Jamaican-born designer Matthew Harris founded the brand as a men's line before evolving it into one of the most respected minimalist fine jewelry houses in the world. His reference points are modern artists, Alexander Calder, Wassily Kandinsky, and the work reflects that lineage. Architecturally flawless structures in 14 and 18 karat, solid yellow gold paired with flawless diamonds, hand-selected Brazilian gemstones, and his signature luminous Baroque pearls that have become instantly recognizable in the right circles. The craftsmanship is so exceptional that in 2016, the Smithsonian Institution selected Mateo jewelry to be showcased at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. The kind of institutional validation that no marketing budget can manufacture. His secret initial rings and delicate pearl drop earrings have become quiet signatures for global royalty and billionaires flying between cities nobody else is flying to. This is jewelry for people who understand that restraint is the most expensive statement available. Not because it's cheap to produce, but because choosing restraint when you could choose excess requires a confidence that money alone simply cannot provide.
Very true.
Number 2. Harwell Godfrey. Past the fashion houses, past the resort wear, past even the fine jewelry, there is a world of high jewelry that operates with private vaults, armed security, and stones that cost more than most people's homes. Lauren Harwell Godfrey lives in that world. And she's building something there that the old guard genuinely didn't see coming. Her brand creates modern heirlooms that blend ancient talismanic symbolism with sharp contemporary geometry, handcrafted in substantial 18-karat gold with ethically sourced stones. Vivid malachite, deep lapis lazuli, flawless VVS diamonds, chosen with the eye of someone who understands that a gemstone is only as powerful as the context it's set in. The Robb Report named Harwell Godfrey the best whimsical jewelry brand in the world in 2023, placing her alongside Cartier, Bulgari, and Van Cleef & Arpels, houses with centuries of history behind them. Then came the Sotheby's moment. She partnered with the legendary auction house to design a bespoke brooch featuring the Mediterranean blue, a flawless 10.03 karat fancy vivid blue diamond. That piece sold at auction for $21.5 million as a Harwell Godfrey original. At auction, Kamala Harris wears it. Global dignitaries collect it.
$21.5 million for a ring? Boy, shout out to her.
And serious ultra-wealthy connoisseurs are beginning to understand what that Sotheby's result confirmed. These pieces aren't just beautiful, they're appreciating financial assets in wearable form. That's wealth strategy disguised as jewelry, and it's an extremely compelling combination. Number 1. Oswald Boating. We have arrived at the summit, and the view from up here is genuinely extraordinary.
This is the peak?
In 1995, at 28 years old, Oswald Boateng became the youngest person and the first black tailor to open a retail store on Savile Row.
Tailor.
Let that land properly. Savile Row, the most historically intimidating, most aggressively traditional street in global fashion where bespoke suiting has been produced for kings, prime ministers, and aristocrats for over 200 years, had never seen anything like him. And Boateng didn't ease his way in respectfully, making careful adjustments at the margins while
That's a
honoring the
fire suit,
institution.
too. God damn,
He
these
walked
niggas
in
dress.
and fundamentally changed the conversation. He took the rigid, centuries-old traditions of British suit making, the precise shoulder construction, the handcrafted canvas chest, the meticulous hand stitching requiring dozens of hours per garment, and infused them with the vibrant colors, rich textures, and bold silhouettes of his Ghanaian heritage. The result wasn't a compromise between two aesthetics. It was something genuinely new. Construction at the absolute
kill me,
highest
please.
Savile Row standard, with a visual personality that the Row had never had access to before. The suits became architectural objects, wearable statements of cultural confidence wrapped in the finest worsted wools and cashmeres available anywhere on Earth. Givenchy made him creative director of menswear, a black British designer of Ghanaian descent, leading the menswear direction of a French luxury house. That appointment broke barriers that the industry had maintained, without much discussion, for generations. His private client list is fiercely guarded, but what we know is this: Will Smith, Mick Jagger, sitting heads of state, European royalty. In 2006, Queen Elizabeth II awarded him an OBE for his contributions to global fashion, which means the British establishment he walked into at 28 and quietly, permanently disrupted eventually had to formally acknowledge what he'd done.
Yeah.
A bespoke Boateng suit takes weeks, multiple fittings, dozens of precise measurements, countless hours of handwork by tailors who've spent their entire careers mastering the craft. And the result changes how you stand, how you walk, how you occupy physical space in a room. It communicates authority before you've spoken a word, in a language that requires no translation in any culture, any country, or any boardroom on Earth. This is the standard. And nobody has topped it yet. And that's a wrap on 15 Black-owned.
Oh, I know what I got to look at next. I'm glad it popped up. But yo, let me know what you think about this. Did you learn anything? I sure the hell know I did. Cause man, listen, I appreciate the Black Status, bro. Shout out to the Black Status once again, man. I love each and every last one of y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. And as always, the link for this channel or this video will be in the link in the description below. Man, listen. The last thing I can say is on the road to 1,000 subs. Let me know down in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this? Did you know anything about this? And if so, let me know. If not, hey, it's good information. Always good to know. Always good to know. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Always good to know new information. Peace.